Welcome. I'm Mayor Gary Sells, and with me today is Councillor Tim Palmer, Chair of the City's Public Infrastructure Committee. Today, Councillor Palmer and I are discussing the Public Infrastructure Committee and how it will benefit Council and our citizens. Councillor Palmer, what was the impetus behind establishing the Public Infrastructure Committee?
Thank you, Mayor Souls, and thank you for establishing that committee with the new council. We didn't have this committee on the previous term. Really, this is about getting more detail into the infrastructure projects and having more information and not getting the council time bogged down in the details. It's really about helping council make really good decisions on infrastructure.
So from my understanding, so when we do these committees, so this committee, you and Councillor Luciao sit on this committee. You go and meet with the infrastructure staff, discuss the issues, discuss things that are coming up, whatever we've got in the queue. Plus also you're that conduit from the citizens to the committee saying these are the issues that we're hearing back in the community. Then that committee comes back to council and basically explains in a committee of the whole, this is kind of what we've been discussing and go forward for that, rather than us going through, as you mentioned, getting bogged down in the council. So am I understanding that correctly?
Yes. Basically, we're working directly with staff. Staff is, it's a big department,
right.
The engineering, and it's all city infrastructure, so it can be other departments as well. Is hearing what the projects that they have. They've got the history, the understanding where we've been with previous councils and the decisions that have been made. So we're bridging that gap a little bit, making sure that we're listening to, at the political level, listening to the citizens, as you say, and carrying some of those concerns so that we dig down into those details a little bit. Engineering can be, very fact-oriented rather than so there's I think some nuances that we need to discuss, and when it comes to things like multi-use trails or how we change our transportation mode in the future, those little nuances. Yes.
Good. All right. So when we go on here, how will the committee assist both council and the public in being aware and understanding the large infrastructure projects that the city may be undertaking? So I know we just talked briefly just about that, but if we could just expound on that a bit. So how do we understand, kind of the big projects that are coming down?
Right. So the committee will be more cognizant on a day-to-day basis of the big projects. So that's first and foremost. Certainly in my mind, I'm thinking about these things every day when I'm traveling in town, and how are we improving. It's really about how we get the best value for the tax dollars as well. So and making sure that things continue to move along. For example, we've been talking about organics recycling for quite a while. Well, this is really the committee that's going to take that, junk of the past, our trash, and basically converting it into cash.
Right.
And so those resources, and making sure that we have that political movement to keep that moving along. Because there's so much that's happening in the city, we can lose track of where our priorities are, and whatever the flavor of the day is, get kind of hyper focused on the urgent items and lose track of where we really want to go as a council. So that's really a big part of the committee.
Great. And that kind of gives us, what I'm hearing you say, it gives us that plan for long term.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. Yeah. So for example, the committee's meeting this Friday at noon, or is it Thursday? I can't remember. But anyway, and the public's welcome to attend those meetings. You won't be involved directly in the meetings, but you're certainly welcome to observe. And this week, Steve is going to be bringing the projects that are planned for 2023. That'll help us get into the more details of what's going to be coming in the budget as well, and have a better understanding. Also, we'll be able to be the cheerleaders of those projects when we come to council,
Right.
and say, well, okay, actually we know more about what's going on because we've heard from staff, and be as the supporters in helping provide clarity of why certain things are priorities.
Well, that's great. I think that's important from two aspects. The community knows that they're going to be heard, and also the staff know that there's going to be a better understanding of what they're undertaking. So when it comes to council, they've got that, as you say, cheering section to say, hey, this is, we're understanding how this is, and there will be another voice to kind of explain that to the rest of us that are sitting around that council table. Correct. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the work that you're doing, you and Councillor Luciao, in getting this to council and being that conduit to staff. So thank you for that.
Right.
So thanks for joining me, Tim. It's really important to our citizens to know how council is engaged and interested in understanding the city's infrastructure needs and planning, as well as communicating that information out to the public. So thanks to you, our audience, for listening in. Be sure to take a few minutes to watch our latest videos on the city's Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram accounts.